Welcome back, friends of the shop. I've got a fun video for you today. Today's video was requested by several of you guys. We're going to be taking a look at the almost too good to be true $8 Harbor Freight survival knife. We're going to be asking ourselves three things. One, will it hold an edge? We'll put a professional, high-grade quality polish on it. Number two, is it tough enough to endure the Wranglerstar torture test? And number three, is it a viable option? Because at $8, how much can you really expect, right? What do we get for our $8? Actually, it's $10, but if you use the coupon, you can get it for $8. Right off the get-go, we have a blister pack. I hated blister. I've incurred some of the worst injuries of my life opening blister packs. Primarily, one that really got me was from a Stanley tape measure. I bet I had 10 minutes in it before I finally got that thing out. Trauma shears are your friend when it comes to opening a blister pack. These should be on your workbench. They're just so useful. You can cut a penny with those things. All right, now this is a very familiar looking design. Those of you guys who are fans of Rambo might recognize this. It looks very similar to the original Navy SEAL knife, which was the buck knife. I actually had one of those back in the day. It had, oh, that was the coolest knife. I mean, this was way back before we had so many options. And when that thing came out, it was cool. It looked just like this, had that serrated back. It had two threaded grappling hooks. I mean, you had this idea in your mind as a kid, you know, the Navy SEAL would throw it up over the edge of a ship and pull himself up with his survival knife between his teeth. It didn't turn out to be very good, but I did have one. But that's a big old blade right there, 8 inches, right? How's the sheath? Well, we'll just call the sheath adequate. Not very good, actually. We got goodies inside. This is a true survival knife, so it should have, well, you know, the regular items we've come to know and love from our survival kits. Look at that. There's a compass inside in oil. That's kind of a nice bonus. I didn't know that was in there. It's even pointing in the right direction. All right, what's in the baggie here? We have some matches, we have some fishing line with a fishing hook, and we have a needle and thread and a button and a tiny, tiny safety pin. Here we've got a piece of resin paper. Now this is the nice edge, of course, right out of the blister pack. It's not too bad, actually. To reprofile the Harbor Freight knife, we'll use the Work Sharp sharpening system. This is my favorite sharpening system. I've got the Work Sharp set at 25. That's what I had it for last time I used it with my kitchen knives. But for our EDC knives and our survival stuff, our stuff that needs a durable edge 30 degrees is my go-to. Doesn't get much better than that. That looks really, really good. 12 passes. I mean, 12 passes is really all that it took. Indeed, it is sharp. A survival knife should absolutely be able to baton, meaning process some basic firewood into kindling, into a small size. I'm not asking it to do anything crazy here. I've got a piece of straight grain fir here, one knot in it, but not too big. My baton here is not too big as well. This, of course, is the litmus test of survival knives. A lot of them can't make it through this, but we'll give it a go here, using without abusing. I actually had a K-bar that fared worse than this on this exact same test. Oh, we're not done yet, though, are we? I'm going to give it a win for that. It went through it, no problem. Nothing broke. Wouldn't go any harder than that, but so far so good. I think that's pretty admirable. Can of beans. Survival knife should be able to open a can of beans without fracturing or breaking. If you didn't know, if you don't have a can opener and how you open a can of beans, go there along the edge, just inside ring, break it through. You can tap it with your hand, doesn't take much, and then from there, this is a big old knife. You work it around. There you have it. All right, let's take a look at that tip. See how we did. That's still sharp on that tip where we used it to open that can. Not quite what it was, but no knife would be. I mean, we just cut metal with metal. This, of course, is a very cheap metal, maybe even cheaper. Maybe it's the same metal, I don't know. But it does still cut paper. A little bit of loss of performance, but it got it done. Now, how is it to work with on performing a simple task like making a tent peg? What's it like to work with? How does it feel in the hand I mean, I think that's for a lot of us, one of the joys of being outdoors and camping is working with your tools. And when you find something that's really well designed that works well with the human body, it's such a pleasure to work with. It's so rare these days, you know, when things are marketed more to please the eye than actually please the craftsman. So right off the bat, it's a poorly balanced knife. You can feel it immediately. That 8-inch blade, it's nice to have that long blade, but it's very, very front heavy, and you can feel that. It's hard to control. Once you get it moving, it tends to want to, there's just so much mass there. As far as doing small detailed work and such, you know, one of the things that's really important with a knife is to have on the spine, to have a surface that it's comfortable to when you use two hands. Here's what I'm talking about. I need to come in here and get that extra power, right? With this thumb, that's really key to do that push cut. And not only do I have sharp edges, there's no place to put my thumb there, but also the blade, there's a long ways between the, oh goodness, what do you call this piece? What do you call this crossbar right here? Goodness, I should know that. There's a great distance between the crossbar where your hand is, the hand guard, and where the blade starts. And that's where you really have your power. That's where you really want to do your work, like in a proper bushcrafting knife. You know, that's right up to the handle because that's where your power cut is. This is so far away, you feel removed from the work and detached, and you can't really get on it. So it's actually quite terrible for doing detailed work, and I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't use it at all. The Harbor Freight survival knife does have some interesting offset serrations in the back. Don't let the Hun catch you with those in the trenches. They'll put you against the wall and turn the firing squad on you for war crimes, but in this particular day and age, I think we're okay. Now, some might think it's a knife or a saw blade. Actually, it could be used as a saw blade. You could cut bone with this. You could get through roots. You could hack through maybe even some cordage or different things. But there it is, for better or worse. So what are my final thoughts on the $8 Harbor Freight 8-inch survival knife? I would say this. If you're going on a grizzly hunt on Kodiak Island and you plan on this being your primary knife, I would say you were not very wise. Now, if you are talking about having something extra beating around in the glove box, or you don't, you've got multiple rigs and you find it difficult to make sure that all your equipment keeps getting transferred out of one kit to the next, I get that. It's difficult. You may just want to have something on hand to cut some fishing line just for an emergency, what have you. $8, right? And you pair this up with their little folding knife. Now for less than $20, you've got a knife and a workable folding saw that is good for a number 2 or a backup, right? It's going to be in the glove box. It's going to be in your bass boat. It's going to be in your camper, your RV fifth wheel, whatever, but it's always going to be there. It's just one less thing to have to worry about. So far, so good. Just as long as you are not counting on this for 100%. It does not instill confidence when you hold it. It feels like one whack or one baton, and then that rat tail tang that goes into that handle is going to be short because this is all hollowed and not super strong. A proper survival knife, you should be able to see the blade on the back of the knife. It should be full tang, but this is not. But this is $8 too. Let's not lose sight of that because that's very important as well. So as a backup, as a secondary, I think it's great. Not your prime time, not your primary knife, but better than I expected. Just not very handy in the hand, but definitely usable. That's it. That's my review of the Harbor Freight survival/hunting knife, 8-inch. Please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you all on the next video.